Okay, so, you know how Nightmare Before Christmas is both a Halloween film and a Christmas film? Well, here you go. The set's going to be split on 2 levels, up top and down below. Up top is this glitzy conglomerate office with big windows, a Christmas tree and decorations. Down below is changeable, but it's dark, spooky and covered in Halloween stuff. So, Act 1, Scene 1, Black Stage. We hear the opening twinkle of All I Want for Christmas Is You, which is slowly drowned out by the gentle dum, 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 da-dum, dum, 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 da-da-dum, dum, dum of This Is Halloween. The bottom opens up revealing Sparrows, a high-end department store in the heart of old London town. It salvages, okay? The uniform is dark green, and here we meet our heroes, Hawk and Raven, 2 proper goth kids who are finishing up decking the place out with Halloween decorations. 1st of October, that's it, spooky season. They've waited all year for this, but their manager, Salem Sparrow, who's like a really nervous edgelord, swans in and explains that it all has to come down. There's a new management initiative this year. Halloween is cancelled at Sparrow's. The guys ask what for. He says it's deemed too scary for the little ones, and it's a holiday all about scaring people and being caught by yourself all alone. Raven's quite taken by his descriptions. Hawk says, "You can't do this. When we were kids, Sparrow's was where you came for the best Halloween decorations in all of London. You used to have giant spiders, witches at the tills, everything. It's the reason we both wanted to work here. Well, that and paying off student loans." Raven nervously asks Salem if there's anything he can do about it. He's the son of the original owner, after all, Mr. Sparrow Sr. But he admits he's struggled with running the place for years, and with the rise of the 24-hour supermarket and online shopping, they've got to adapt somehow. And, well, management knows what's best. Christmas comes right after Halloween anyway, so why not just let it come closer? Hawk and Raven protest. "We've already got festive meal deals in September, mince pies and August bank holiday. When will it end?" Salem shrugs and goes up top, where we reveal Mariah Carey. He addresses her as chief investor, and she asks, how did the staff take it? He admits, not too well, but she says the sooner all these gaudy bats and pumpkins are gone, the better. This department centre is just the beginning. She says, "I remember when I was a girl. Christmas used to mean snowy streets and bright lights everywhere. Every November, I am summoned from my crypt to dominate the world for 2 months, but it's time to open the door wide. Christmas, all year round." Is that going to lead us into Christmas all year round? No, because Salem argues, "Wait, even in summer?" She says, "Christmas in the Commander." He says, "What about Easter?" She replies, "Festive cream eggs." He says this is madness, and Mariah sees he needs a little bit more convincing, so she summons her boys, Wizard, to sing. That night, Raven and Hawk are working late and are joined by Salem, who admits that the plan is already in motion. They ask him where they should put the Halloween stuff, and he tells them they're going down to storage, but just leave them at the door. Well, the kids are happy to take him down. They're here all night anyway, but he insists storage is for managers only. Salem starts backpedaling and questioning everything. Is Halloween even that good? And Raven and Hawk defend it staunchly, talking about self-expression, choosing your own costume, giving kids a healthy scare before they're frightened off by the real monsters of the world. What could be wrong with that? Salem is won over, but says, well, you've got to admit, Halloween does suffer an identity issue. After all, who's our icon? We don't exactly have Halloween songs. And of course they challenge him with After the song they reside that they think Halloween is here to stay and can hold its own. And then we smash cut to Russian Dance, where mad holiday shoppers scurry around, panic buying toys. Up front, Hawk tells Raven that they should sneak into storage and get the decorations. Come on, we can set them up at home. No one's going to miss them. We can make our own Sparrows without all the buying crap. Make it just like it looked when we were kids. Raven's reluctant. Well, what will Salem say? But he's busy with a line of Karens a mile long. Okay, she says, we'll sneak up on our lunch break. Then there's thunder and lightning, and an instrumental Ghostbusters theme underplays the next sequence. So they sneak up top, and it's like a creepy laboratory in here. There's vials, bubbling flasks, and a pedestal with a book on top. The Diary of Mr. S. Sparrow Sr. Mr. Sparrow Sr. appears on stage, a handsome yet keenly gothic man who talks gravely about the Battle of 1994, the night the single was released. Sparrows was decked out for a huge Halloween that year, the biggest yet, but a war arose between his staff and the local council. They were concerned it was too scary and tried to tear it all down, putting up Christmas lights instead. He says I was willing to make peace with them for the winter months, but they wanted to start early. The battle rained on. He says he's spoken to Salem, a young Salem appears on stage, and told him that if I don't survive this night, he must carry on my work and keep the spirit of Halloween in his heart. He says I leave now to try and reach parley with the mayor. I have a rousing speech prepared that will turn the tide of this conflict and win them in my favour. Although, I fear I may not return. And he walks away. They look up and reason, of course. He never made that speech. Everyone knows that was the night Mr. Salem Sr. disappeared. A voice from the dark says, he didn't disappear. He was murdered. And I killed him. Out steps Mariah Carey. They both gasp. You're behind all this. She reveals that that was the night my first single was released, and the day I devoted my existence to fighting this battle. Now you two know, I could not let you go on. They ask, well, what are you going to do with us? She says one murder was risky enough. She can't chance another. But if you two like Halloween so much, I'll send you back there. She plucks a hair from her head and throws it into a vial. She explains the elixir that gives me life. My essence transcends the ribbon of time. This is why I never age. And when combined with this and fueled by the power of song, its effects can bend space-time and can transport my victims anytime, anywhere. I will send you back to Sparrows that Halloween night in 1994, so you can see for yourselves the loss your pathetic holiday suffered. But I warn you, the council back then was a lot less welcoming than they are now. The elixir is engaged by high-frequency sound waves, also known as song. She blasts out Underneath the Tree by Kelly Clarkson. You're on me, underneath the tree! To send them back in time, but at the last second, Hawk grabs a vial. In Halloween 1994, Sparrows is booming with classic, proper Halloween decorations, just like the kids remember, and the staff run around excitedly to Terror Time again from the Scooby-Doo movie. Hawk shows Raven the vial he stole and says we can get back to the future right now, but Mr. Sparrow Sr. is revealed in a grand Dracula costume, and Raven has another idea. She says we have a chance to change history here. Hawk and Raven warn him about tonight, about the future, about what happens to Halloween and Christmas, and he's appalled. They say you're due to make a big speech, aren't you? He says yes, one that will convince the stubborn mayor that Sparrow's Halloween is here to stay. They explain that he'll never get to make that speech, because she's going to kill you. We don't know how, but we know she will. He says, well, this simply won't do. We must get back to the future. But before they can do anything, the townspeople appear with pitchforks and torches. Raven says, wow, they really were worse than they will be. This is like a proper horror film. Sparrow says, fear not, children. As long as I can reach that podium to make my speech, I can save Halloween. And young Mariah Carey is there in the audience with a gun aimed squarely at Sparrow Sr. Hawk and Raven panic and run over to her. Wait, aren't you the Mariah Carey? She says, yes, get out of my way. But they make a big deal out of it. They say, you're about to go to the radio station to release your single, aren't you? He says, yes, but I have something to do first. They say, well, you better hurry, because you know East 17 are about to drop their single tonight. She lowers her gun and says, what? They say, yeah, it's called Stay Another Day, and it's meant to be really good. Mariah is furious. I won't have those poncy boy band boys taking my spot. Then she storms off. Now, Sparrow Sr., alive and well, does his speech. He proudly announces that this marks the start of a new day for Sparrows. They're going to go big on Halloween whether you like it or not, and bigger next year, and bigger after that. Children will grow old with fond memories of the Sparrow Halloween displays. The crowd are won over, and Hawk says, wow, these guys were prepared to kill Mr. Sparrow 5 minutes ago, and now they're cheering him on. Raven says he's just that good. So now, he's alive. Now Mariah won't be able to take over the world in the future. Hawk says, yeah, but the song's still going to get released, and Raven says, well, we can't stop everything. At least maybe now Christmas will be a bit more, contained. They say, let's use the vial and get home. They give it a wave, but it doesn't work at first. Wait, didn't she say something about the power of song? We need to sing something. Christmassy? Ew. She said the power of song, she didn't specify what song. The 90s Sparrow staff starts singing the Monster Mash, and they say, yep, that'll do.
They did the mash. They did the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash.
So, they're transported back to present day in the emerging Sparrows and ask someone, oh, excuse me, boy, what day is this? The boy turns in like a genuinely frightening skeleton costume. It says it's All Hallows Eve, of course. They say perfect, but the stage is proper dark and scary, and they agree it's a little too scary. Suddenly, a headless horseman rides across the stage. Skeletons and zombies are going to jump out of the audience. On a big screen, the Pumpkin King himself, Mr. Sparrow Sr., addresses the nation and welcomes them to the scariest night of the year. A miserable-looking Salem appears and tells everyone to have fun, make sure you check your candy, and his dad interjects with, "Remember, nobody is safe." We're seen out with an amended version of Remains of the Day from Corpse Bride, where the lyrics are changed to reflect Sparrow defeating Mariah Carey.
And that's the story of our God.
Act 2 opens with a chaotic version of spooky, scary skeletons. The world is overrun by Halloween. Hawk and Raven have been here a month and agree that this isn't the worst thing in the world, but now Halloween is genuinely dangerous. People aren't just hiding from ghosts and ghouls anymore, but from other people. The clock strikes midnight and the Pumpkin King once again appears, explaining that it's December 1st, so you know what that means. He says, "Yes, hold your noses everyone, it'll be over soon." Sparrow begrudgingly opens the floodgates to Christmas. Now the Christmas shoppers march out in a happy frenzy to stop the cavalry, led by their resistance leader, you guessed it, Mariah Carey. But now the balance isn't right at all. It's Halloween all year round, and then Christmas is like a massive explosion, and nobody seems happy about it. Who knew Sparrow Sr. was such a psycho? Hawk and Raven agree they need to set things back to how they were. But how do they get back? Hawk reasons if they get to Mariah and ask her to make more elixir, they can go back and change it back. So they have to fake being all Christmassy and happy to get close to Resistance Mariah. They say we're from alternate time, this wasn't supposed to happen. Resistance Mariah sees the potential here. She gives them some elixir, but of course they have to sing. Okay, let's do another Halloween song then. They do a three-way mashup of Werewolves of London, Born This Way, and Toxic, but nothing works. Mariah explains that now Halloween is all year round, those songs won't do. Maybe they would where you come from, where Halloween is the minority season, but here you'll have to try something stronger. Something festive. Raven sighs heavily and takes us into
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
which works. So Raven and Hawk are zapped back into the past, and behind them, Mariah grins evilly and gives us a reprise of
You're all I need.
zapping herself back in time also. Back in 1994, they watched themselves swap Mariah and falter. Okay, so we got her away from killing him, but now we need to get her to do that again. Okay, let's just go over and ask ourselves to stop. But we can't do that. Why? It'll create a paradox. Sparrow Sr. talks grandly about how tonight begins a new age of holiday. Halloween will no longer be contained to just October, but will be an all-year-round celebration of all things spooky. The kids falter. What are we going to do? Which is precisely when Resistance Mariah appears and shoots Sparrow Sr. point blank. She knew about the paradox. She knew they wouldn't be tough enough to kill him. Okay, so the timeline's been fixed, but what happens now? Without him going crazy in the future, your future won't exist, will it? Resistance Mariah looks at her fading hand and says, "Don't worry about me. You kids get yourself back home. I want to hear myself play on the radio for the first time." The opening notes to All I Want for Christmas Is You start playing, and it's enough to charge the vial and send them back to the future. Resistance Mariah takes a moment to listen, and young Mariah checks in on her. Resistance Mariah looks old and bedraggled compared to her younger self, and hides her face and assures her that she's fine. Young Mariah wishes her a Merry Christmas and leaves her to it. Resistance Mariah says good luck and fades away in the falling snow. Back in the present, the status quo is reset. So, okay, changing the past didn't work, but what else does this book say? Hawk and Raven read further. Okay, so they had the battle and the big speech, but what else? Then Salem enters, defeated and exhausted, and he asks what they're reading. "Where did you get that book?" They explain what's happened so far, and Salem says, "Incredible. For years I've wanted to try something like that, but never had the chance. But this book could be our chance to defeat Mariah. And keep it all fair, don't worry, I'm not my dad." Because Hawk and Raven insist that Christmas is okay as long as it's contained 2 months. Salem agrees, and he says, "Well, my father made ample notes he never used to show me about something called the Black Parade." Because when Salem was a young boy, his father took him into the city
to be in a marching band.
Man, God, this is perfect. So Salem grabs up a jack-o'-lantern, it reads some Book of the Dead quote, and the parade appears, made up of goths, moshers, and all the rest of it. It unites the clans. When Mariah sees this, she's appalled, and counters by splitting a Yule log and summoning her Christmas icons, Paul McCartney, Cliff Richard, the rest of it. And together, they will summon the ultimate power they have. Santa Claus is coming to town. It's the battle of the seasons. There's a grand showdown using toy guns and fun shopping centre props, and in all the carnage and turmoil that this battle has brought across the land,
Mary's boy child.
Boney M appear. Mariah says this is awkward, she didn't invite him, but okay, I guess you and your creepy brother can join. But Boney M explained that they've not come to fight. All this war and mayhem over a consumerist holiday. Have you all forgotten what it's truly about? Mariah says to them, don't do it. Salem asks, well, do what? But they've already started. While performing Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ himself appears. The battle ceases, and he's curious about this holiday set around him. He says, tell me, these songs, are they about humble things like breaking bread in a stable and turning water into wine? The guys admit, well, no, they're about buying things. And Santa Claus. Jesus says, Santa Claus? Who is he? And Santa himself appears. Oh, he's laughing. Ooh, indeed. Listen, bucko, you're great, but I can take it from here. And the true Pumpkin King, the Pump King, he also appears as well. Now, he can be Sparrow Sr., because he's had a word with the other holiday icons, and they all agree that after what he did in the other reality, he's probably best suited for the job. He says, fellas, this is still Halloween night. I won't have you two arguing over your holiday on my watch. And the three say they need some time. And they go up and talk. And talk and talk. Meanwhile, the two parties try to reach their own conclusion over the pipes of peace.
Let us show them how to play the pipes of peace.
The three icons descend and explain that all this madness seems to be centered on the release of the single All I Want for Christmas Is You from 1994. Santa says, oh, there were songs before, of course. The Pumpkin King admits that with no distinct Halloween songs, Christmas has been allowed to bleed throughout the year. Jesus reasons that it was this single that sent the world into its buying frenzy and triggered the domino effect of conglomerate commercialization that we see today. Do you disagree? They don't. So they reason, then, we send you all back to 1994 to start again. Give you all a fair playing field. Because Raven, Hawk, Salem, you were just children when this happened. And Mariah, you couldn't have known any better. But sending you back as you are now makes it fair. Sound good? Raven, Hawk, Salem and Mariah levy their Nerf guns. Ready to go head to head? You're on. Jesus says very well and sends them all back in time to continue the battle on a fair turf. And we'll close with Mariah singing a very threatening version of All I Want for Christmas Is You.
All I want for Christmas is
To be in a marching band.